Alright, good morning everybody. Today is Tuesday, July 15, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Jules and Lady Pitbull here on UCY.TV. Good morning, Lady Pitbull.
Hey, how are you? It's good to hear ya.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm alright. I just had a little mini audience sneaking down here a few seconds ago.
Oh.
I just shoot her upstairs to go wake up Nana. Checked out she is. She's probably sitting on the stairs. Warning to you, What?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say warning to you. I was not informed that I would be required on air at all. I just, by accident, heard about it while I was trying to get out of the house yesterday on air. So, just a warning, I am on wireless, and I'm on this mic that's attached to a printer, because if I attach it to my screen, you can hear me typing. So, if we have technical issues, I can't help it.
That's okay. That's all right. The training wheels come off, right? I'm glad that you were in the chat, and I'm glad that you heard it.
Overheard it accidentally.
Right.
That you were going to be on by yourself, yeah.
And it would have been fine if I was here by myself. If you need to take off, that's fine too. Okay.
Yeah, but no one would expect you to do that unless you really wanted to.
Either way, it's fine with me. I mean, you're on vacation right now, so...
No, I'm not on vacation. I'm still just trying to recover from my illness, and I was coming to pick up my kid. She's been visiting Nana.
Oh, I see.
And a friend of mine's in town that I grew up with. She actually used to babysit me.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, I've known her that long. She's known me since I was 5 years old, but... last time I went to see her was in 93 when I was on my cross-country trip, so our moms are best friends, so she was in town with all of her kids.
Neat!
And we were going to go fossil hunting, but that did not turn out yesterday, so hoping today, because they're heading back home. They've been here a month already, so they're heading back home tomorrow, I believe.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope you guys find some cool fossils.
Back to the city. Yeah, I told my munchkin that she and I might just go regardless if they're around or not. So I found a gold sparkly coffee cup that says simply, I woke up like this.
Oh, really? That's cute.
Use your imagination.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whatever you choose.
Oh my goodness. JJ just posted a picture in the chat room of me drinking, listening to dancing to Poker Face.
Oh no.
I've got my drink.
Square dancing.
No, I wasn't. I have my chocolate martini raised high in the air. Jeez. Oh my god, it's a funny picture. Oh my goodness. We had fun though. It was wonderful.
That's awesome.
It
wasn't too hot. We kind of had polar vortex number 1.
That's right. That's right. And I'm in polar vortex number 2 right now. And it's,
really? How cold is it? It was pretty.
It's 67 degrees right now, and it's just blue sky, and it's clear, and it's gorgeous. And if all summers were like this, I'd be very happy. Yeah,
I don't know. It's the reason why I was complaining is because it's weird to have a polar vortex in July up here. But I shouldn't be complaining because I really, really, really hate the heat.
Oh my, yeah, me too. I really do.
I'm not a good heat person. I'm nasty and mean.
Yeah.
Yesterday was it was so muggy. I mean, you literally couldn't move 2 inches, and my face and my shirt were just soaked all day. There was nothing you could do about it.
Oh, I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate that. Especially when the humidity is up. That's just the worst.
Yeah, it was so uncomfortable.
Wow.
All right. I think I posted our first picture of the cup. Now I can just share it around.
Yay! That's awesome. Very cool.
Run with something. I honestly, last night, I've had some, lots of other things going on, so I really haven't paid attention to anything.
Oh, now let me tell you, since you brought up last night, I caught the second half of Brandon Turberville's show.
Yes, I listened to all the shows last night, but that's all I really did. I didn't.
Oh my gosh, I found myself just completely pissed off after that show. I was so angry. I mean, just what he was saying about just imagine this, and this is what I thought of when he was talking about the Palestinians and how the Jews just came in there, bulldozed their houses, and just took their land and their farms out from under them, and all this. I could just think about it like this, people. If all these Mexicans that are coming in, man, if the government decides to help them in some way, come and just, take your land and build settlements, that's the same thing that's happening in Israel right now, or in Palestine, and in the Middle East, and that it's happening just to that kind of a level. I mean, if you're what you have to do is put yourself in other people's shoes, and that's what I kind of thought about. You know what I mean? It just, the atrocities that are happening over there are way, way, way just underreported, and people all over America, there's protests going on everywhere right now. There's a few going on here in Michigan, on the U of M campus and in downtown Detroit. There was some in New York I saw. All over the place there's protests springing up about this, and people are at least have a clue to the atrocities that are happening there, and now they're just getting mowed over by the Israelis. They were using, I swear, dude, Israel used a Patriot missile on a Hamas drone, supposedly a Hamas drone.
I saw that. And I wonder if they got it from Iran. Because, Iran and Syria support Hamas.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Remember, we looked at this way, way back. Remember when we started looking into them? Yeah, I was talking to my friend that I usually talk to last night. One of the many, 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 many things that we disagree on is Israel. He's pro-Israel, I'm not. Used to be, years ago, when I was brainwashed, and I was like, oh, poor Israel, until I really started to wake up to everything that was going on there. And what's interesting is the first thing that always comes out is a Wikipedia entry. So I'm looking at this, and I really wasn't in the mood to read this, but I was trying really hard, and I got the gist of everything. Basically, if you look at Israel in Wikipedia, it gives you a history from the very beginning until now.
Yeah.
And the state of Israel, I don't know if it's the official state that it is now, but the first existence of Israel was in 11 BC.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look, you can hear every noise.
Oh, that's all right.
Oh, well, this mic is super sensitive. 11 BC was the first time that they actually showed up, and they had quite a swath of land. And as history marched forward, and I mean, I could go there, but I really don't feel like it because fuck Israel, I don't really care.
Right.
Sorry, it was too early for an F-bomb, and it's only 10 minutes after 9. But I've only had 2 sips of coffee. They had quite a large amount of land, and as time went on, I don't know, the Romans and a bunch of other, the Persians came through and conquered them. And each time the borders changed. And I mean, who hasn't that happened to?
Sure.
Throughout, generations.
Yeah.
And what it seems to me is that Israel's had their ass kicked a lot of times, but like I said, so have every other country that's out there.
Sure.
And what they are trying to do now is deciding that they want all their borders back. They want all that land from all that pre-biblical time they feel that they are entitled to. But wait a second. Who else is entitled to all their land that got taken by the Romans and the Persians and the Ottomans and every skirmish that came through there?
That's right.
Borders were redrawn and countries were created and destroyed. And one of the things that was interesting is in like the third paragraph, I think down, and it talked about the Romans, and it talked about the Persians, and then it talked about the Israelis going in and settling in Palestine. And one of the things that Dr. Berdash had said yesterday is that he had lots of Jewish friends. Mm-hmm. He had Jewish friends. They had Jewish neighbors.
Yeah.
These were terrorists, he said, that came in and took their land.
Ah, yes. Absolutely. I mean, because it's not the Jews themselves, it's the Zionists, you know what I mean? So there's a big difference, and everybody, like, lumps all the Jews, every single Jew on the face of the planet, in the same category as these asshole terrorists. You know what I mean? And there's a difference. He was trying very hard to point that out.
Yeah, and I think he did a good job. There we go.
Me too.
I just wish that poor Brandon had such a horrible time trying to get that interview. That was the third time that they had recorded the whole interview.
Oh my gosh. Well, it got out, and it got on the air, and that's what counts.
Yeah, and he's going to try to transcribe it, he said.
Neat.
And I really think he should do another one, but he should get a new mic first.
Yeah, absolutely. Get a little upgrade. But it was still, the stuff he was saying was just, and he even answered my question that I asked Brandon the other day, if there was Jews and Muslims and things living together in Iran, and he actually answered the question and said yes.
Yeah, I thought there were.
Mm-hmm. So that was really, really cool. I only listened to the last half hour because I'd gotten out of class at that point, so... but what I heard was, got my feathers rumpled, let me tell you that.
We gotta hate when feathers get rumpled.
That's right. Well, or love it in another level. You know what I mean? At least you see what the hell's going on. And that guy was telling the truth. That's all he did. It's all he offered was the truth.
It was his life story. I really wish, with the headphones on and when I had it running through my software... Mm-hmm. And everything was really quiet, I actually could catch most of what he was saying, and I know it was really hard because there was noise that sounded like the tape recorder Brandon was using was making a little squeaky noise.
Yeah.
And I really tried to filter that out. I put it through Audacity, and I tried to do the noise reducer and, suck the frequency out of that sound, but it really cut back the audio even more of the interview, so I couldn't.
See. I see. You wouldn't be able to make out what was being said.
Exactly. And I did lay double tracks, so it was twice as loud as it was before, and then I cranked them.
Well, you did a good job. I mean, I was able to follow it with my windows open in the car, so...
Wow!
Yeah. I was really... But I was straining to hear a little bit, I didn't catch every single word out of his mouth. However, I caught enough to, relay what I just said, so...
Right. I was psyched Activist Post was pimping it yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Very good. It was Brandon's awesome, man. I'm really impressed.
He does a great job. He really does. And I have to say that, we met him back on the old network. That doesn't need to be mentioned.
Right.
The old network. He was a guest of Madison's. That was how we met him.
Right. That's weird, because that's how I kind of came into the fold, too.
Yeah. Well, JJ knew you.
Right, but that's how you first
heard I met you.
Yeah, that's how you first heard me, which is pretty cool,
I think I produced 74 shows for him.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It was a lot of shows.
Yeah, it really is.
I wanted to mention, too, speaking of Activist Post, did I put it on my page? So, yeah. Here's another thing, too. Just know that I probably don't have any sound shut off on this notebook, so you might be hearing dink-dinks and blink-blinks all morning.
That's okay.
Yeah, look, it's a gold cup and it says, I woke up like this.
Wait, I'm gonna refresh the page.
Oh, goodness.
Hey,
People are like, oh, God, Joel. I think I put it on the behind the curtain. So I mentioned to you guys when Brandon came on Friday, he did a story on that connection we found between the cytochrome P450 enzyme suppression with the SSRI drugs and that study that I've dropped you guys 10 million times showing that glyphosate, Roundup, causes the suppression of the cytochrome P450 enzyme, correct?
yes.
Do you remember that study?
Oh,
Yeah.
I totally remember that.
Nobody has put that together yet in anything. So Brandon wrote a story about that. That was when he came on Friday. That was what he was going to talk about. And I think we got off on a bunch of different tangents. But that story has been released. It is titled, Is Monsanto Contributing to the Rise in Mass Shootings? Because that is exactly what it implies, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gotten some really interesting interviews out of it. I think today he was doing one at lunchtime. Some big names. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow, that's
and I hope
awesome.
shit goes viral.
Close
Because
the lid off of it, you
needs
guys.
to. It needs to.
Wow,
It needs
that's
to.
awesome.
So, something else that's interesting, I know I've talked about this many times before, but maybe not recently. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Everything just kind of bleeds together now. But back quite a number of years ago already, I would probably say maybe 5 or 6 or so, I was really sick. I talked about when I was pregnant, my pregnancy went really south. Mm-hmm. And I almost died. It was bad. And I had preeclampsia, and my blood pressure was sky high, and my liver was shutting down, and it was just awful. Just all these bad things. And then when they put the spinal in, I have this issue where I'm sensitive to drugs, like really bad. So they just gave me normal dosage, but I was numb up to my eyeballs.
Oh my God.
I wasn't even realizing that I wasn't breathing, you know what I mean? And I wasn't thinking about breathing. And everyone had left the room. Everyone showed up, and I was like, I'm fine. And everybody leaves. And then I start realizing that the only way that I can breathe is if I consciously make an effort to. I was like, whoa, this isn't cool. But, long story short, after all that was over, my body was just decimated. And I went into hypothyroid. I had been hyper years ago that went into remission. What was the other thing that happens? Oh, my blood got all messed up. And all my blood numbers were just totally whacked out. And what made me think of this the other day was Kevin Blanche talking about pre-leukemias, because that's exactly what they told me I had, along with all these other issues. But they definitely had said I had whacked out numbers. I don't know, my white cells were high. My red cells were, I'm trying to remember if they were high or low. I had high clotting ability, so that must have been high. And some sort of weird infection or something going on because my white were way high. So anyway, they were telling me it was pre-leukemia, and started sending me to the cancer hospital to see a hematologist. So I did that for about 3 years. And it had come down to where they wanted to do a bone marrow biopsy. And I said, freak, no. What does that entail? Oh, we drill a hole into your hip. I'm like, hell no, you're not.
Good for you.
Absolutely not. And I had a few, actually, did I know Kevin at that time? I didn't. But I knew somebody who had one, because all I knew was that it hurt like hell. So I was like, I'm not thinking so.
Yeah.
So just like with my thyroid, when they wanted to cut it out when it was high, because that's the way they've been doing it for 50 years, and what made me think I was so damn special, that's what the doctor said, I again pulled it out of my book and said, hey, but I never had this issue before. It just came out of the blue. Who's to say it's just not going to go away by itself? And the thyroid thing actually did go away by itself without surgery.
See, there you
go. And without meds, yeah. So anyway, I asked the doctor to give me some time to work on seeing what we could do with my blood numbers. So he wanted me to come back every couple months. And in the meantime, that was when I had the come to Jesus moments and stopped eating processed foods and all the other things. But the one other big thing I did was start drinking my ginger tea. I used to do my ginger. Yeah. And over the next few months, I went to my appointments, and my numbers started to go down. And he's like, wow, look, they're getting better, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the next time I went, wow, they're even better than they were before. 3 visits in a row, and they were back to normal.
Wow, that's awesome.
And my doctor was dumbfounded. He asked me what I had done different. I told him that I just, you know, started eating better foods, and I was doing my ginger tea. Well, you know, of course, that's not going to do it. He's like, okay, well, you know, you start not feeling well again or whatever. You know, I have my hematologist at the cancer center, so just make an appointment. I'm like, okay. I'm not, the door hit me in the ass.
That's right.
So, anyway, I run across this study a few days ago. Another study. And hold on, we'll have to let me get back to my page. And what does the study talk about? The study talks about a Chinese research group that had discovered that ginger causes apoptosis in leukemia cells, guys. That's the same thing that turmeric does to all the other types of cancer cells and all those 1,100 and actually, I keep saying 1,100. It's 1,511 studies on American curcumin.
Well, there you go. I mean, there you have it.
It causes apoptosis in the cell. So, anyway, getting back to Brandon and his girlfriend Heather. I'm sure you guys all know Heather Callaghan. Heather took that story. She writes about natural medicine. And she wrote a story for Activist Post yesterday on the ginger causing leukemia cells to commit suicide. Because, guys, everybody needs to know about this stuff. Do you know how much chemo Kevin went through? I believe he went through 8 rounds of chemo for leukemia.
Yeah, which is hard freaking core.
Oh, yeah, he almost died. I mean, I don't know if you just watched him on his videos all through his chemo treatments, but Kevin was a walking skeleton.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
He looks great now, but he was really damn sick. And it just makes you wonder, like, you know, all those years, I literally believed the medical establishment. I believed that they really were trying to help me because I was sick. I had all these weird issues that nobody could diagnose for many, 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 many years. I'm telling you, it was them that caused it.
Yes. Oh, my gosh, yes.
You know, I was a big walking experiment. You know, it's taken me a lot of years. I mean, I'm 46 now. It's taken me this long, and I'm still not 100%. I've let myself slack off because of this network. You know, it took a lot of work for me to get healthy again. And then this happened. But I'm way better than I was.
You're still drinking your ginger tea, too. Mm-hmm. Which is awesome.
Not as much as I should, but we should all do it every day. So anyway, I want to read the story that Heather wrote because she actually brought something up in here about the FDA that we got to talk about. Ooh. Anybody thinks that any of these guys have our best interests at heart. They absolutely do not. So this is brand new. This came out last night on Activist Post. Ginger-induced leukemia cell suicide by Heather Callaghan. Great news, ginger lovers. The majestic culinary darling does way more than help with nausea and upset stomach, which that's what we always knew ginger as, right? Was ginger ale. And any time that your tummy was upset, your mommy would give you some when you were
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. It's also very good for the lungs if you go through and look at it. It's an anti-inflammatory. And it's from the same family as the turmeric, by the way.
Oh, right on.
That's why they look very similar. Just one is yellow when you cut it open and the other one is orange.
Oh, there you go.
It says recently a milestone study found that ginger actually fights several species of drug-resistant bacteria. Now that's news to me because I didn't know about that one.
That's awesome.
It is well documented in studies for shrinking tumors in mice with hard-to-treat cancers as well. And here we have yet another study on ginger's mighty effects against a relentless cancer, and that is leukemia. Shangal, which that is the active substance, specifically 6-Shangal, was the subject of a 2013 Chinese study in vitro and in vivo, which means in the petri dish as well as in a living creature. Shangal is a compound in ginger that not only inhibits leukemia growth, but also causes leukemia cell apoptosis, which is the programmed cell death of where the cell commits suicide. Cell apoptosis in healthy cells, of course, would be worrisome, but it is ideal for stopping cancer growth. The wonderful thing is, the compound, which is found in a variety of ginger species, did not harm healthy cells at all or cause any side effects. So, why not? Honestly, I am so angry when I read stuff like this, and I think these guys must have known this forever. I mean, this is in Chinese and Indian medicine.
Right, come on. Mm-hmm.
So let's make sure. Now, what are you going to guess that there's going to be some fancy footwork, and we've already seen some of this with the not the European Union, the North American Union, where they were talking about unifying the FDA across Canada, Mexico, and the USA, and the FDA was going to take control of herbs and vitamins. Right? We've been hearing the threat for a long time now.
It was called Codex Alimentarius.
Yes. All right. So let me scroll down here a little bit. It says in 2003, another similar study as well on a different component of ginger, which is called gingerol, found that it too induced death of leukemia cells by fragmenting their DNA. So there are two substances that studies have shown now since 2000. Well, this one was 2003. I think the other one was 2013, showing that ginger kills leukemia. So, guys, all I'm going to say is that when I first read the study a few days ago, I was like, no shit. I mean, because I'm telling you, I had a hematologist. He was dumbfounded as to how my blood numbers went normal. It must have been the food. Right? I think it's the tea.
Yeah. Well, from what the study says, it was the tea.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. I think it was the tea. Now, that's the first I honestly wasn't sure. I mean, I had suspicions because that really was... I mean, the food was a big thing, but food is food. I mean, I'm still going to eat an apple as an apple, though one might have pesticide, one does not, and I'm sure that it has causes. Not in a few months' time... I don't think that I hadn't detoxed or anything at that point. That was before I knew about any of that stuff. So, I don't know. I think it was the tea. Check this out. It says, of course, it appears that these studies are largely done and with isolates to see if pharmacological drugs can be made and patented for cancer treatment. And isn't that the way they work? We played a clip a while back where one of the big pharmaceutical companies was over in China. I don't know if you remember that. And they were working on sequencing all of the Chinese herbals
yes.
to, quote, bring it to America for our health benefit. If any of you buy that and eat that up, I think you need somebody to look in your ear. Because... of course they're going to bring it here to help make America healthy and to help make their pocketbook healthy as they make synthetic versions and patent them all.
Exactly.
That's
bingo.
all they want to do. So still, it's eye-opening to see the astounding medicinal effects of the spice. Ginger has no side effects unless there is an allergy. But consultations should be sought before eating, taking extra amounts, especially if diabetic, have heart problems, or are on blood thinner medication or painkillers. And actually, that is a good point, because I believe one of the other things that I read about ginger, and I don't think it talks about it in here, is that it helps thin your blood. And with me having... that was one of the other things that was up with my blood, is that I had a really high platelet count. And that causes clotting. So that's what they were worried about, stroke and things of that nature. And so anything that would thin my blood would be good, so they'd recommended that I take a baby aspirin every day. Mm-hmm. But I was hoping that, and I did know that about ginger, is that it helped thin your blood. But you want to be careful about that if you're on blood thinners.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. All right, so here, a little bit more. So hang on to your ginger, and this is the part I really wanted to get to. It is a bit worrisome that the FDA has taken extra scrutiny. All right, guys, I'm only on like a quarter of a cup of coffee, and I'm kind of double listening because I hear little pitter-patter running around. Has taken extra scrutiny towards spices like ginger, even as medicinal science continuously announces its marvels. Did you know that the FDA recently did a 200-page report attempting to paint spices as deadly substances? Yeah. It actually coincides with when the above study, the one about ginger, was published. When you see the summary of their report, you will see how ridiculous that portrayal is. So let me click on that, because I want to see the FDA report.
Yeah, let's see this.
This was an article by Heather. Oh, yeah, it came out in November 2013, which was when that study about the ginger came out.
Whoa, coincidence?
Oh, maybe not. And this one is titled Scary Spice, FDA's Recent Scrutiny on Spices Overblown. Oh my god, so they're trying to warn us that spices are dangerous? Keep that hot sauce away from me.
Oh my goodness. Tell me this hasn't been done on purpose.
The FDA's risk profile on spices here. Oh, let's read the risk profile.
Risk profile.
Come on!
Yeah, well, don't tell me this hasn't been done on purpose. This is absolutely done on purpose to make us, our immune systems, and everything weak. They want us dead.
Well, this is crazy. Ginger profiles.
So, you purchase some ginger at your local market, and you get flagged. Hey!
Yeah.
There we go.
Here, FDA, draft risk profile. Pathogens. This is the title of the PDF, and it's a 213-page PDF by them. Pathogens and filth in spices. Hey, FDA, I personally like my spice filth. Thank you. Alright, hold on. We're going to scroll down because it's 213 pages. Of course, they need to have lots of blank. We have acknowledgments. Oh, let's see who helped. I see the CDC listed in here, and of course, they should be trusted.
Oh, yeah, I always trust the CDC. They have your best interests at heart.
Yeah, whoops. I posted something last night. I think there were more issues of unattended anthrax. There were keys left in a cooler. The anthrax was left in a cooler in the hallway with keys in it. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No shit.
I'm just going, okay, people. Something is obviously being staged to be done. Whoopsie! Like on accident, on purpose.
They really, really, really are like trying to set the stage to make you see that the chain of command of all these dangerous substances hasn't been what it should be. And maybe it has been, and maybe this is all orchestrated, or maybe it hasn't been because they really didn't care. Or maybe they were just that stupid. But regardless of the reason, they are making a very pointed point to make sure you know that they know that you know.
Yeah.
This stuff has just been kind of floating around willy-nilly.
I like that analogy, that they know that you know.
It's like it was at first. I keep feeling like it's Monty Python. And then I push myself, I go, it's not. It's real life. And it's even more ridiculous than Monty Python.
It's worse than Monty Python.
And now we have the FDA coming out at the end of last year saying that spices are filthy. You shouldn't be eating them. only the meat that's been rolling in feces that we don't have enough inspectors to go pay attention to. All right. One of the spices listed here. Spices linked to outbreak. Oh, black pepper is number 1 on the list.
Jeez, everybody uses that.
Number 2, paprika. Yay! Number 3, turmeric.
Of course.
Let's see. Now, by the way, black pepper is what amps up turmeric 400 times. Just know that.
Oh, really?
Pepperline, they call it. Yeah, if you can get some curcumin with pepperline in it, and if not, you just do black pepper along with it. So, you can even put it in your food.
Wow.
And look at this one. Spice linked to outbreak. Curry powder. Now, curry powder, the active ingredient is curcumin.
That's right.
Now, here's one, anise seed. Oh, I love anise.
Me
and
too.
then black licorice as well. I do not know off the top of my head what the medicinal uses for anise are, but it is pretty potent. So I will guess that it probably has some really great medicinal properties.
Yeah, everything on this list is going to be good for you.
Yeah, well, here's a broccoli powder,
What?
which is a coating on a snack puff. Okay.
That's bizarre.
But maybe that will allow them to go after that dreaded broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the next one was a spice blend, which, that's just in general. So all spice blends can be dangerous. Fennel seed. Again, black pepper, white pepper, red pepper, white pepper. And did I see ginger in here?
I was going to ask that.
Wait, we're down here further.
Jeez, how many of these freaking things have they got listed?
There's all kinds of stuff. Oh, here we go. So we have another section that is listed as microbial pathogens detected in spices from 1985 to 2012. Review the scientific literature and the CDC PulseNet and the FDA facts databases. So it's the CDC and the FDA that have been putting this information together for you. Number 1 is Salmonella. Number 2 is Bacillus spp, which I'm not really sure what that is. Clostridium, Coronarbacter, Shigella, and Staphylococcus aureus, which that's a pretty nasty one. That's the one that causes MRSA.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So these were the main pathogens. I'm just going to read through the list here. We have alfalfa seeds, allspice, anise seeds, a couple of these that I don't recognize, like Ajawam, Twang, I don't even know what that is. Asafoetida, I don't know what that is. Basil, bay leaf, black pepper, capsium. Capsium is the stuff that's supposed to be so great for you in hot peppers.
Yeah.
It's a painkiller. It kills cancer cells. Capsium is all kinds of amazing things. Oh, hot and sweet capsium, by the way. Cardamom, cayenne, celery seed, cinnamon. Cinnamon brings your blood pressure down.
Cinnamon's good for you.
Coriander, another one. I don't know. There's a lot of things that coriander works on, but I don't know that one off the top of my head. Cumin. Cumin is curcumin. Curry leaf. Fennel. Fenugreek leaves and seeds. Finger roots. Garlic. My mother told me, hey, I don't talk about garlic enough. Back a few years ago, John Stokes turned me on to a product called Allison garlic. I don't know if you remember that. It came in a jar. They had pills for antibiotics, and they had a cream. And Stokes had turned me on to this, and he's like, this stuff's amazing. And I've always had issues with a bad immune system because they ruined it with all their antibiotics and drugs they had me on. So I have trouble with skin infections and shit at times. I have to be very careful that I don't get a cut or whatever. So I bought some. It sat in my fridge forever. That's the one thing that sucked about it, is that it has to be refrigerated for the ointment. But my mom my mom got this thing, and they didn't know what it was. They thought it was some sort of weird cancerous tumor. Nothing that she put on it would make it go away. And at first they maybe thought it was a boil or something, and they're like, no, we're not sure. And they wanted to take a biopsy. And I said, why don't you try this garlic stuff? You know, I don't know. Everything else didn't work. Put it on there. Do you know within a week it was gone?
Really?
So start cutting her up.
See, yeah, that's the first thing they go. That's
she
like they're
reminded me of that last night. She's like, don't you remember the garlic stuff you gave me? It totally made it. And she'd been to 4 specialists they sent her to before that.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that not insane?
You know, I wish I would have known about this. My grandmother had this weird affliction that they couldn't even diagnose. She went to freaking Boston, and they couldn't even diagnose it there, where all of her skin just sloughed off of her. It was like snowing every time.
Antibiotics can do that, you know.
Yeah, and she was on a shitload of them. You know what I mean? But I was so young.
The side effects of those quinolones, by the way.
Oh,
skin peeling off.
Yeah, I was so young. I didn't know any of this stuff. I wish I had known then when I know now.
You know, my mom even seems to think that a lot of her friends are waking up to the drugs. Like, they're all working on trying to get themselves off them.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
It is good. But this is something that, the FDA and their cohorts don't want us to do.
Well, right, which is why we see stuff like this.
Yes.
And, the next step is for them to ban this stuff is dangerous.
Exactly.
And then we're not going to have any of our natural remedies. And I got to tell you, at that point, there better be some movement, because that will be the last nail in the coffin. I mean, really, this stuff saved my life. Okay? I can literally tell you that. After I read that story about the leukemia, I mean, they really wanted to start sending me down that path. I don't think I would have made it with chemo.
And that's their go-to move. I mean, hey, you got a weird bump on your arm, let's biopsy it. You've got a strange... Yeah, you got a strange mole on that appeared on your neck, let's biopsy that sucker. I mean, they just start cutting, hacking, and radiating.
I know, exactly. All right, I'm going to just read a couple more of these. But
please do. I mean,
this is illustrating is that, I mean, people have been. You ever hear Spice Road? Mm-hmm. Between like India and China in really ancient times. Okay, this shit has been eaten by humans for eons.
That's what made the world economy.
Right. So salmonella or. What was the other one? The Staphylococcus aureus or Shigella. Don't think that those bacteria haven't been around also for as long as the spices have been around.
Right.
Now, one thing that I do know that I had read about that I don't know if it is a U.S. requirement or if it's something that's being done elsewhere, but I had read that spices were being radiated.
Oh.
Bacteria. Now, I don't know if it's all spices, if it's a requirement for coming into the country, or if it's commercial spices and maybe organic or not, I would hope. But that I don't know. But if somebody wants to do a little research and find out what's being irradiated and what's not, that would be helpful. I would imagine that getting spices that were irradiated to kill the bacteria probably also kills all the beneficial effects of the spice, right?
Absolutely, yes.
It's like nuking your food.
Right.
Microwave, it kills all the alive parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm going to just finish reading this list. So we had garlic, ginger, nigella, something called London rocket, mace, mint, mustard seed, nutmeg, oregano. By the way, oregano is an amazing spice. I need to get myself some more oregano oil that works on lots and lots and lots of things.
Yes.
Parsley, sage, thyme, sumac, sesame seeds, turmeric, white pepper, black pepper, mixed spices and seasonings, which include curry, 5-spice, and garam masala. And I'm just looking, because then as you go down through, it looks like most of these spices are all about the same. They can contain different microbes and whatever. This is a 200-page report. I will drop this in the chat, and you know what? I'm going to post this after the show's over in one of the feeds that'll show up on the Before the First Cup page. So Maddie is saying that they radiate spices with cobalt 60.
Oh my God.
60 is it is a naturally occurring radioactive material. It is long-lived material. They use it in a lot of the medical processes. So I guess there's a lot worse radioactive materials than cobalt 60. But I don't want my stuff radiated at all.
Exactly.
You know, like why radiate them?
Gosh, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I did drop the study. That's the FDA study showing everything is dangerous. Let me drop the original article. So I want to give a round of applause to Heather and Brandon.
Yay!
Because they took two of these stories that really weren't being published out there and put them out in a big publication. They put them out on an activist post.
Is that the end of her article?
Yeah, it was. That was close to the end.
Man, that was a great article. I mean, that was very impressive. She did her absolute. She totally did all of her research. It was neat. Very good.
Well, that's what she does too. She focuses on health, natural health stuff.
Man, that's great.
So, yeah, she writes for Activist Post and the Natural Blaze. And here, I'll drop the other article from November that she referenced about the FDA's scary spice story. Neat. But yeah, Heather's great too. She's really, really nice.
I'm keeping those articles, let me tell you right now.
I will. I'll post them all after the show, so they'll show up in one of the feeds here on our page.
Cool.
All right, I wanted to make sure I got that out there, and I wanted to thank them both because those were two things that were really important to me, and now they're out there. I think Brandon said, too, she's going to do a story on those 1,500 studies on turmeric.
Neat!
Yeah, people need to know about this stuff.
Yeah.
So screw the medical establishment trying to stuff us full of chemotherapy and drugs that are killing all of us.
That's right. Spread those...
Mana, and wait... that nobody can afford.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about tier 1, 2, and 3 drugs the other day. Tier 1 drugs, nobody can afford. You know, those are the $500 pill drugs.
Yeah.
And, or wait, that's tier 3, right? Those are the expensive ones. Tier 1, aren't they the generics, the $5 a prescription? And we were looking at that, but there's no liability. Sure, go take the generic drugs that could kill you.
Absolutely. I mean,
they're liable for it.
It's all because they're petroleum based at the pharmaceutical level, and what really works is the plant based ones.
Right. Well, the nature based ones, the ones that we evolved with,
Yeah. The human race.
Which is one thing I gotta tell you that makes me so upset about just seeing the complete and utter devastation of the rainforest. Because they've said so many times that there probably are cures for every disease in that rainforest.
That's why they're destroying it.
Maybe. Well, plus it's worth a lot of money destroyed.
Yeah.
I think they're mining there, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they're doing. There's the coffee lands.
Everything. They're doing everything. They're pillaging. It's resources.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to read another story. I ran across this yesterday afternoon and read this to my mom at dinner because, I don't know, sometimes I get an eyebrow when I talk about some of the surveillance state that we're living in because, people have always thought I was paranoid. But I think I've proven pretty well that no... I was pretty justified in my paranoia all these years. But this story really took the cake, and then I saw Hecty dropped it in chat last night, so some of you might have seen it. But it was pretty unbelievable. It was published on the ACLU site last night, titled, "An FBI counterterrorism agent tracked me down because I took a picture of this." And it is a structure that almost looks like a water tower, is what I would have guessed. And it's got rainbow color swaths painted on it. And it is a very well-known artistic copyrighted piece up in Boston, by the way. They'll talk about that. Here, let me read this. It says, this is a statement from one of the plaintiffs speaking at Thursday's press conference announcing the ACLU's lawsuit challenging the government's controversial suspicious activity reporting program. Good morning. My name is James Pringoff. I am 86 years old and a retired senior corporate executive, having been president of Levi Strauss Division and previously the senior vice president of the Sara Lee Corporation in Chicago. I am also a professional photographer. In fact, I have been a photographer for most of my life. My specialty is photographing murals, graffiti art, and other community public art. I am the co-author of 3 books utilizing my photographs, one of which, Spray Can Art, has sold over 200,000 copies. My photographs appear in countless other publications, and my photography has been exhibited at the Smithsonian in Washington and many other galleries. I have lectured on photography and public art in museums, universities, and venues worldwide. I have never had an experience like I had when attempting to photograph the rainbow swash outside of Boston in 2004. Let me explain. So, mind you, this happened in 2004. 10 years down the trail. Can you imagine how much more surveillance there is going on right now? And I flipped out, and I hate to admit this, but my friend was listening to Alex Jones last night, and I was like, all right, I'll listen for a little while. And he had open phones. He was doing his best to avoid talking about Palestine and Israel.
Really?
Yeah, but he did eventually. But by the time I was ready for bed. But he had open phones, and he had a couple people calling in that worked for, like, Border Patrol Customs, I think the one guy said he was. Mm-hmm. And another one was a TSA guy. And they came out right and they said that you are being profiled and you're being put on lists. And they're going to tell you it's random, but they're going to dump your shit all over, and they're going to go through it because you're on a list. It's not a fantasy.
Right. And
I would totally believe that. So anyway, let me finish reading this, though. The rainbow swash is an iconic piece of public art near Boston, painted on the circumference of a 140-foot-high liquefied natural gas storage tank in 1971 and repainted in 1992 at an adjacent site. So it is a large container of liquefied natural gas. But on the other hand, it says it is actually one of the largest copyrighted pieces of art in the world. The original artist was Corita Kent. Again, this is the testimony. I went from Dorchester, Mass. to photograph it, but before I could take a picture, I was confronted by 2 security guards who came through their gate and told me I could not because the tank was on private property. I pointed out that I, being well outside the fenced area, was not on private property, but they insisted I leave. If one goes to Wikipedia, there are actually excellent close-up shots for the entire world to see. So a few months later, I came out and found a business card on my front door of my home in Sacramento from an Agent A. Ayez of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, asking me to call him. One of my neighbors, an elderly woman, told me that 2 men wearing suits had come to her door to ask her about me, her neighbor. When I called Agent Ayez, I think A-Y-A-Z, he asked if I had been in Boston recently, and at that moment I realized that the security guards at the Rainbow Swash site must have taken down my rental car license plate number and reported me to a law enforcement agency. I never gave the guards any information about myself, so I must have been traced across the country via my rental car records. So consider this. A professional photographer taking a photo of a well-known Boston landmark is now considered to be engaged in suspicious terrorist activity? I lived through the McCarthy era, so I know how false accusations, surveillance, and keeping files on innocent people can destroy their careers and their lives. I am deeply troubled that the SAR program may be recreating that same climate of false accusation and fear today. Photography is an important part of my life, and I plan to keep photographing public art and public places that contain WPA murals and other architectural sites, as I have been doing so for 69 years. Why have my artistic pursuits landed me in a national database, potentially linking me to terrorist activities? There is no reason for it, and this program must be stopped. What do you think of them apples?
That was awesome.
And I mean, the fact that the man had been like a senior corporate executive for like Levi's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, this dude's obvious, and he's 86.
He's got credentials.
Not a terrorist, okay?
No. He's been speaking in colleges about photography and art. I mean, come on. This dude probably has art all over his walls in his house.
What gets me is that he's absolutely right, though. He lived through the McCarthy era, and that was when everybody started turning on everyone else. Wasn't that the Red Scare?
Yes.
Everyone was a communist.
Hmm?
And that's what they're really trying to amp up now. And I really think this health thing, you know, the curcumin, turmeric, the I'm losing my train of thought now. What was the tea? I was drinking. No, ginger tea. You know, things of that nature are so simple, and things that we all know about, and things that we can get our hands on, that, you know, all it takes is one little crack in the glass for someone who is denying it all to go, oh, and start looking at more. And I'm so excited because maybe this will be the thing that starts waking people up, you know, the health thing.
Sure.
But look at this. Now we have a corporate executive who, he had a horrible experience with the ACLU, is filing a large lawsuit now, which is really super awesome.
That's good. I mean, that's what should be done. This stuff needs to get fought in the courts, but, I mean, it gets tangled up in the court system and the slow wheels of justice. I mean, it's hard to get some justice in a quick way. This is stuff that's happening so fast. Soon, if you want to use spices and stuff, you're going to be a racist. If you want to use ginger and turmeric, you know, you'll be a racist. And you'll be, you know, a hate crime. You know what I mean? I mean, that's where it's going.
There was another story that came out of Madison's website, and the lie, 5 men suing the Obama administration after falling into quote-unquote suspicious activity file.
Oh, jeez.
From the photographing public works of art to bulk buying computers, 5 Americans now have a record on file with U.S. intelligence agencies for carrying out everyday activities. I wonder if they mentioned this gentleman that we just read a story. Thousands of unsuspecting Americans are also tagged in the database. The lawsuit, no, I guess not, filed by 5 Americans whose personal data has been entered into anti-terror databases for engaging in lawful behavior, aims to impose a quote-unquote permanent injunction on a government program that targets First Amendment protected activity, encourages racial and religious profiling, and violates federal law. Since 2013, over 35,000 U.S. citizens have had their personal information stored away on terrorism databases like the FBI's eGuardian, where they remain on file for up to 30 years. The disturbing trend of innocent Americans being ensnared in the intelligence network has its origins in post-9/11 era, where crippling legislation like the Patriot Act turned every citizen into a potential suspect. The Government Accounting Office, in its 2013 annual report, found that all 78 DHS fusion centers can contribute or share information on the platform. 21 of the fusion centers share the data directly with the FBI. And yes, they mentioned, was his name James Pringoff? Was that his name?
Don't know.
Or not. Hold on. Let me go back to that story. I don't, because if it's the same guy, I don't want to read it. But if it's a different guy, and I don't know if it is, actually. Let's see. I will know in 1 second. Yes, James Pringoff.
Oh, very good, Jules.
Excuse me. Yes, that is my lung hacking that I'm still dying from. Pringoff, one of 5 plaintiffs filing a lawsuit in California against criminal Attorney General Eric Holder. So they are filing this lawsuit against Attorney General Eric Holder and a member of the Justice Department.
Good, they should. I'm glad they are.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
This is supposed to be a free country where the government isn't supposed to be tracking you if you're not doing anything wrong, said Pringoff in a statement. I am deeply troubled. Other plaintiffs in the lawsuit include, here we go, an accountant of Egyptian descent who said a, quote, suspicious activity report was filed about him after he made a bulk computer purchase for work from Best Buy. Another man of Pakistani descent said he was tagged while waiting for his mother, who wears a hijab.
Hijab.
Hijab. Okay. Hijab. It's spelled hijab. Habib. Their formal head covering outside the bathroom of a train station. And according to its website, the initiative attempts to pinpoint behavior that is, quote, reasonably indicative of pre-operational planning related to terrorism and other criminal activity. Civil liberty groups, however, say the initiative opens the door to abuses of power, which, yes, of course, we know that. So I'm done. I thought it was a totally separate story, but it wasn't.
Well, I'm wondering if I could freaking sue, because my name's on the list and I did absolutely nothing.
Well, did they release that yet? I know that they were talking about releasing the list. I think Greenwald said that he had it.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got it, so apparently I'm on it. So, jeez, man, I should sue. I didn't do anything. I wasn't convicted of anything.
Where's the list?
Where is the list? That I don't know.
I want to see it. I want to see if my name's on it. I got up close and personal pat-down rubbings, private room from all kinds of women at the airport.
Jeez. Wow. Crazy. My computer just kind of crashed, so I hope I'm not going to... I'll just leave it alone. Especially while we're on air, but I can't look at any articles or anything. Yeah, I mean, it would be... Boy, we should be getting in on a class action lawsuit here. I can totally get in on that.
That's what I'm thinking. Something else that I saw come up in a few places, and then I heard somebody talking about it on a call-in yesterday. We brought this up a few weeks back about them scaling back on recruitment for the armed services.
Mm-hmm.
And using the reason for that as being that they are going to be scaling back all these wars that were and skirmishes that we're involved in, which, pay attention because we're not. We're getting involved in more and more every day. One of my postulations was that I was thinking that they probably were getting the DARPA bots ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Hey, we got unmanned area vehicles. We could have, one soldier in a room running 10 drones. Why do we need all these people? One of the other things, too, is this Oculus Rift we've talked about before. They now have been developing this interface for cyber patrol, but since it's very difficult to find hackers to come work for them, what they have decided to do is to make the Oculus Rift interface something that a soldier would be able to understand. So you don't need to be a hacker to attack targets anymore. It's going to be kind of like a Wii, where your arm movements and everything translate to something being fired or shot or whatever in the game.
Right.
So it's all they're going to have to do is they can have soldiers now going after potential targets in this 3D virtual world just by the wave of their arm. A lot of that I do think is why they're scaling back, because they're not going to need that many people. But I heard something yesterday in a call-in show saying that they were scaling back and they had heard through someone who was in the military that was why they were training all the foreign troops. I mean, I've heard that before. I've seen rumors of that before. I don't know that. I will tell you that there have been a lot of strange exercises that I have seen that at the time did not make any sense. Like, we were head-to-head with Russia over Ukraine. I don't know if you remember this. Head-to-head. Yet on the backside, at the same time, we're doing military exercises up in the Arctic.
Right.
Together, all kissy face.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and I was going, how weird is that? You know, don't think that we're enemies. They're messing with us. And all of this on the backside of their butt buddies, rubbing their butts together.
Damn right.
But it makes you wonder, you know, someone did bring up there were Chinese troops that were doing some training with us, which I thought was kind of odd as well. Like, don't we hate China? Don't we not want Chinese troops here? Right. Why would we be helping train them? And so, God, there was one other thing that I just kind of fleeted out of my mind now. Damn it, because it was important. Ah, shit. Oh, I know. I saw a tweet come through my Facebook feed yesterday. And again, I don't know if these are true. I'm just saying this is speculation, but this is some of the stuff all on this topic that I've seen recently. And it was saying that they were cutting back their meals to 2 a day because they were talking about budget cuts in the military. I don't know, someone's family member was like in stationed somewhere and had sent them a message saying that they were cutting back their food rations.
Oh my God.
Now, if anyone else knows anyone in the military, that might be something to find out about. That'd be pretty damn interesting.
Well, those guys need all the calories they can get. Look what they're doing.
Yeah.
Geez, don't you think they could cut it somewhere else? You know what I mean? Instead of the guys' food rations?
How about Israel's Iron Dome?
Yeah.
$50,000 a bomb.
To name, like, one little thing.
Yeah. So this story, this is what made me think of that. There was a story that came out from the Daily Sheeple yesterday titled, "Now the Pentagon is giving our active duty soldiers in Afghanistan pink slips." Now, they were planning on drawing down the Afghanistan troops. That was something that's actually been on the docket for, 8-10 years now?
Yeah.
And instead of getting drawn down, they got pumped up. Hold on, I'm going to have to cough. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on, I got to mute. But I'm discombobulated. Hold on.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm so congested. Okay.
Oh, that's
and I don't have any tissues down here either.
Oh, jeez.
I know. It says, while many Americans who are too busy paying attention are floored by our nation's apparent lack of border security and are somehow still under the impression that this is a quote-unquote sudden mass influx of illegal immigrants that isn't the result of years of NAFTA, CAFTA, and every other president's foreign policy failures going back to at least Reagan, including the seemingly persistent, systematic destruction of our immigration laws by the Obama administration, our government is also busy embroiled in endless wars that they can't win halfway across the world. Now, supposedly, due to sequestration budget cuts, our Pentagon is... Oh, that was really loud in my headphones. Our Pentagon is busy doling out thousands of pink slips to our soldiers, including some who are active duty members fighting overseas in Afghanistan. Now, this was according to Fox News. Again, I don't really ever quote them. But, on the other hand, Fox has had stuff that they've come out with before anyone else, so I'm not going to necessarily discount them all the way. I guess just put this in the back of your mind somewhere. According to Fox News, roughly 2,600 captains and other officers have or will be laid off, with more expected, Fox News said on Friday. The decision to send pink slips to soldiers overseas on active duty is dangerous and bad for morale, says retired Major General Robert Scales. It puts the soldier, the soldier's family, and the men under his command at risk. Young officers look at each other and wonder who is next. And I'm going to tell you what, that isn't the first that I've seen of that, though, about active duty members getting pink slips told that they don't need to be there. It was probably a few weeks ago I read something about that.
So is it like honorable discharge, or is it pink slip you're fired? I mean, what?
I don't know. Let's read a little bit more and see. So while these troops are over there battling a nebulous enemy under the outright lies that got our nation overextended in this never-ending empire-building war economy masquerading as a war on terror, these men and women are simultaneously being given pink slips that effectively leave them unemployed with no job and no way to support their families when they go back home. How is that for support our troops? A big fat thank you from Uncle Sam. Psychiatrists are now projecting that 1 in 3 U.S. troops will suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Our soldiers are committing suicide in record numbers, and record numbers of them are taking prescription antidepressants. Back in 2010, Army Times reported that an average of 950 veterans are receiving treatment through the VA department were attempting suicide each month. And you know what? I mean, now all of what we've learned about the VA healthcare system, that does not surprise me at all.
No, it does not.
Not that I am in favor of giant military-industrial complex that America has built to infect the world like a cancer, but laying people off while they not only have a loaded gun, but their life or the lives of other men and women literally are in their hands seems particularly mind-blowing. So it sounds to me like they're giving them pink slips, saying we don't need you anymore, you no longer have a job. But somehow we, the people, are supposed to believe that we magically have enough money for Obama-ass Congress for a spare $3.7 billion to help take care of illegal immigrants and suddenly pretend to care about securing our somehow still completely secured southern borders. So, I don't know.
I'm amazed that came out of Fox.
Well, I don't know. That came out of the Daily Sheeple. It's quoting Fox. But,
okay, but that was a good article.
I guess just pay attention, because if they really are giving out pink slips as they're ramping this stuff up, something else is going on.
Yeah.
Something else really is going on.
I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about how they're poking that veteran's hornet nest with a stick.
They sure are, and I mean, there have been a couple stories over the last few months about recruiting numbers being way down, and recruiting offices are not, their numbers have been cut way back, and why is that?
Maybe DARPA has something to do with it.
Well, that was my first thought. My first thought was they're getting ready to launch. I mean, they've been working on all this artificial intelligence, and every other day I get a notification about some new UAV that they got going on.
Yeah, see? They don't need us anymore.
Mm-mm.
We're obsolete now. The human race has become obsolete.
Yeah, we've been obsoleted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Bill Gates, I had posted a story on my Before the First Cup page about Bill Gates saying that we were all going to be replaced by robots.
Yeah, and he's also funding all this illegal immigrant open border stuff too.
Yes, I didn't see that.
Oh, I definitely saw that. I can't get to it now because my computer froze. But that was a huge. I dropped you that article. In fact, I remember that.
Where?
Oh, I think it was in Skype.
What account? I'm connected to multiple machines at the moment.
I think it was in one of the radio shows we were on. Mm-hmm. So I can't get to it.
Well, speaking of DARPA, here, let's see if hold on. You're hosting the call, correct?
Yeah.
Correctamundo?
Yes.
Can you bring in my personal account?
I believe I can. That is, if Skype doesn't mess me up. Let's see. Alright. Firefox is having the problem. So...
Yeah, Firefox keeps trying to force me to update, and if I won't, it actually did it itself on my other machine. Oh, there you are. Alright. No, I don't think there's anything running on this computer. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I need to put it on stereo mix. 1 second. I want to be able to play a clip here.
Oh, cool.
Maybe. Maybe. Oh, damn it. No, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Oh, okay. That's okay, though.
Yeah, I need a microphone on. Well, hold on. Though I hate listening to radio shows where people are troubleshooting on the radio show, so we're not going to. So no clips for you. Unless, hold on, does this machine have stereo mix set up? I could just mute my audio. I don't think so, though. I don't remember ever setting it up on here. Nope. I don't have it set up on here. Last time I did this, I had 2 notebooks, but my other notebook is so dead it won't even stay powered up for 5 minutes before it shuts itself down. But it only shuts itself down when I have Skype open, so go figure that one out.
Yeah, that's weird.
So there might be a story about this, though, that I could read. Oh, this is going to suck if I can't play clips for the next couple days.
Man, they're just, I don't know, I just feel bad for the vets. And they, like, getting pink slip, dude, that's like saying, okay, no benefits, no nothing.
Right!
You
put your life on the line.
Yeah.
Now you get nothing. See ya, don't let the door hit you in the ass.
Yeah, that is just, I think that is probably the straw that's going to break that camel's back.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's send all these PTSD guys home with no future, no pension, no paycheck.
That's crazy. That's insidious. I don't think there's ever been an army in history, maybe Rome, I don't know, Caligula, I mean, to treat their armies like this. I mean, you know what I mean? It's sick.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, if I could play this clip too, report says 3,300 jails rise in prisoners with serious mental illness. Which, you know, mental illness and the diagnosis of such is going to be what we all get diagnosed with at some point. Who isn't mentally ill, honestly?
Yeah. Everybody's got some form of deviant behavior. Deviant.
Well, not even deviant. I mean, who's defining normal?
Well, there you go.
Subjective.
This photographer was displaying deviant behavior by taking pictures of the gas tower that had art on it. That's deviant now. You know what I mean? Yeah, who is defining this shit? It's ridiculous.
Like, making it a felony to annoy a cop in New York State. Thank God that never went through.
Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. So their version of normal is screwed. It's really
screwed.
Yeah, skewed, eschewed. I don't know. It's bad, wrong. I don't know, these people. How do you? I don't know. How do you battle against that? I mean, you know, it's the black and white. You know, right is left, up is down. It's that whole, you know, Masonic type way of thinking that they've done a good job at distorting reality with that. I'll tell you that.
Guess what? Guess what? I think I got stereo mix installed.
Oh, wow.
You talked just long enough for me to be able to take my brain and think about something else for a second.
Good. Well, it is. I mean, they just, you know, they try to tell us right is wrong and wrong is right, and they're distorting reality.
Alright, hold on. I gotta send this to myself over there. Okay, let's see. Oh, it says check your call quality. Well, I'm hoping that this will play because it is stereo mix. This is we were talking about DARPA weapons and replacing soldiers and things. So there's this new bullet. I don't know if Hammy's out there, but I did post it on the Primer Time page yesterday. This is the bullet that can turn corners.
Yeah, so we read that yesterday, but
it's 50 caliber. It's called Exacto.
Oh, Exacto, huh?
Exacto. Wait, let's see if it plays. Or not. Or maybe there's no sound to this. It's very possible there just might not be any sound of the video. Well, we can find out. Here, let me pick something. Damn. So now I don't... Well, here's some new military tech. Let's see if we can... Oh, this is the new Big Dog. Sounds like some music that I listen to.
There is no sound to that video.
Yeah, but you heard it, right?
Yeah,
I heard it in my headphones.
Oh, that was weird. Is that what it sounded like?
That's Big Dog. Yeah, they're calling it a Mastiff now, but it's the Big Dog robot. The one that they put all the supplies on with the legs.
Yes, it can go through all the wooded terrain and rock.
Yeah, they're actually
water.
doing exercises, and this thing's marching along carrying supplies. It's part of an ongoing Rim of the Pacific naval exercises called RIMPAC. The U.S. military has been testing out some of its latest technology, including a Mastiff walking motorized transporter. And yeah, it looks like a big horse, actually. That's exactly what it looks like. Except it's big and nasty and robotic.
Here we go. They don't need us anymore. I mean, they don't. They just start cranking these out by the warehouse full.
And don't forget, now, Google owns 8 of them. 8 of the companies, not 8 of the robots.
Right. 8 of the companies.
And, oh, look! Wow, 3 DARPA stories so far from yesterday.
Wow.
The railgun, that came out a while ago, but I don't know if you've ever seen or heard about this railgun, but this thing is pretty nasty.
And what used to be a weapon of science fiction and action movies is now a reality. The U.S. Navy has unveiled its brand new electromagnetic railgun. The $250 million ship-based long-range weapon fires projectiles with electricity rather than conventional gunpowder. This causes a railgun projectile to travel at more than 5,000 miles an hour, which is the equivalent of traveling from San Francisco down to San Diego in about a minute. Chief of Naval Research Matthew Klunder explained the wide range of capabilities for the weapon, saying it can shoot down ballistic missiles, it can shoot down very advanced cruise missiles, and it can shoot down fast-moving aircraft. It's extremely safe and extremely effective.
Yeah.
Now, scheduled for more testing through 2016, each railgun unit costs about $25,000 per unit, but it's actually well below the cost of more traditional missiles and armaments.
25,000. Oh, hold on, this isn't a playlist. Only 25,000 a unit? That seemed a little cheap.
Jeez.
You sure she didn't mean 25 million?
I don't have any idea.
25,000, that's a bargain. They should buy thousands of those things. 25,000. That can't possibly be.
Well,
maybe.
They want to make it affordable to cops.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Jeez. Oh, boy.
I don't know. So, yeah, lots of new technology coming out. And getting rid of troops. Here, anyway, I was going to get to the CDC stuff.
Okay.
How's your browser there?
It's better. It's back.
Oh, good. Do you have anything you want to run with?
Let's see. Not really, because I closed it all out just to save my... JJ posted a bunch of the pictures this morning, and they're all... They took up all my... I'm zapping them all right now.
Oh, so JJ's the one who wrecked your computer. Blame him!
His fault!
Morning, JJ. Thank you.
Yes.
Teasing him.
That's funny. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. I don't know. The CDC stuff's pretty important, though. There's people who are using electronic devices in their skin are reporting, or actually, it's electronic devices are people who are using the electronic devices are reporting rashes and that are causing.
They said there's some allergy,
nickel allergies.
Yeah, oh well.
That's going.
Don't use a fucking iPad then.
Right?
Put down the devices.
Oh my god.
Those are what they're using to brainwash us. I get really pissed when I see my daughter with the iPad. A little bit. She needs to learn how to use this stuff, but don't get sucked in. I showed her. I actually told her about the studies with the rats and how they target that pleasure center using a reward system. And, you can do it with treats, or you can do it with computers, or you can do it with video games, or you can do it with, all kinds of things. You can do it with sex. We've talked about that dopamine, adrenaline draw. It's the same brain center that reacts for addiction, for nicotine, for cocaine. That's what these devices play upon. And I got to tell you, I definitely start to Jones when I don't have the internet. Now, I got a lot of stuff that I got going on every day that if I'm not on the internet, shit starts to fall apart after 24 hours. Sure. But on the other hand, it's kind of self-imposed because tomorrow I could just pull the plug on all this and say, screw it, and then not have to do any of it. But it still doesn't mean I wouldn't feel the need to get on the internet. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
So... All right, I'm going to read this. It says, yet another federal investigation has concluded that major safety lapses were evident when more than 80 lab workers with the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention were exposed to live anthrax bacteria last month. On Monday this week, Reuters reported that a second probe, this one conducted by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Services, or APHIS, found serious flaws, by the way, with the way germs that carry anthrax, a potentially fatal disease, were handled by the CDC workers. Last month, RT reported that as many as 84 scientists at the Atlanta, Georgia CDC facility may have been exposed to anthrax bacteria due to the absence of proper safety procedures. At that time, the CDC announced on its own that these lapses may have allowed dozens of employees to possibly be exposed while working in what was supposed to be a high-level biosecurity lab. Now, only weeks later, the results of the APHIS investigation revealed further flaws that impacted worker safety at the CDC facility. According to the Reuters' Sharon Begley and David Morgan, these latest findings go beyond details provided by the CDC last month and includes examples where keys were left inside supposedly locked refrigerators containing anthrax, among other discrepancies. Quote, APHIS found numerous violations of federal rules for handling dangerous microbes, Reuters reported. For instance, unidentified material were carried from one CDC lab to another in 2 plastic Ziploc baggies, which did not meet the requirements that such containers be, quote-unquote, durable. They were taking unidentified materials in Ziplocs? Now,
are you kidding me?
That's pretty insane. In addition, anthrax was stored in refrigerators in an unrestricted hallway. The key to one sat in its lock, Reuters reported. In another example, containers of anthrax were missing and had to be tracked and located by the inspection team during the probe. Other samples, Reuters journalists wrote after viewing the APHIS report, sat in an unlocked lab that was not certified to even hold such substances.
Oh my God.
The APHIS investigation was conducted from June 23rd to July 3rd, Reuters reported, and it has since been handed over to Congress. On Wednesday this week, the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations within the White House of Representatives Committee on Energy and Commerce, wow, is that a lot of titles or what, will hold a hearing to, quote, investigate the anthrax incident and the CDC's adherence to safety protocol measures. So now we're going to sit in a committee for a year and a half while we take vacations and dick around. And in the end, they're going to get a slap on the hand. But everybody that had been involved probably won't even work there anymore by the time the decision comes down.
Right. That's how they do it. That's that wheels of justice or whatever. They're slow to investigate themselves.
Yeah, they sure are.
Meanwhile, are you done with that?
No, there's 2 more paragraphs.
Go for it.
As a part of the ongoing investigation into the potential live anthrax exposure of more than 80 workers at the CDC lab, committee leaders earlier this week sent letters to the CDC and the Health and Human Services Inspector General seeking documents and information, the committee said on its official website. On Wednesday, the panel is expected to ask, among others, CDC Director Tom Friedson. Tom Skinner, who is a spokesperson for the CDC, told Reuters that his agency declined to reference the APHIS report because it was nearing completion just as his own group was finalizing their release, and the CDC wanted to, quote, work as quickly as we can to respond to the issues concerning anthrax. Yeah. I'm sure they're hip-hopping that one really quick.
Yeah. And I don't know, what did they do? 2 weeks ago they found all that stuff in a closet for 50 years that was been there for 50 years.
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, they're just... So, are they just... Okay, so... Obviously, mistakes have been made since these facilities have been in existence, obviously, but maybe they just haven't been gone, maybe they haven't been reported. Now, suddenly they're just reporting all these little small things. You know what I mean?
Well, gotta tell you, it makes me feel really warm and fuzzy that they're moving Plum Island to Kansas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, seems like I said it before, it seemed like a great place for it, but now, man, it seems like a really great place for it.
Exactly. Especially when you just, move these kinds of things. They're just gonna put all this stuff in Ziploc bags and move it to Kansas.
Yeah. Move it from off the coast of New York City to Kansas in a pickup truck. Yeah. With Bubba as the driver.
Bubba, yeah.
Come on, people.
Bubba's butt crack.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it really isn't laughable.
No, it's not.
It isn't laughable. It's very disturbing. But the fact that we just allow this to happen.
Yeah. And so what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to say, oh, they're just incompetent. Oh, look at the incompetence down there at the CDC. They're just...
And incompetence in government seems to be okay these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. This is exactly... So do we just dismiss it like that? Is that what we're supposed to do? Meanwhile, there's freaking outbreaks on the border coming in here at record numbers?
Yeah, meanwhile, on... I don't know, whatever the newest reality television show is. Snooki's boobs are up.
Yeah.
He's getting a boob job.
Come on. It just drives me crazy. It really does.
I don't watch a lot of TV.
Was
Snooki still on?
I have no idea what the hell Snooki even is.
You know, my sister was in town one time, and she made me watch an episode of that horrific show, and I don't even remember what it was, New Jersey something. Spoiled Dumb Bitches in New Jersey, something like that. I don't think that was the name of the show, but that's what I called it. That's all they were. I mean, they were disgusting examples of human beings, is what they were.
Yeah.
Nobody that I would even consider speaking to, let alone want to be associated with, let alone waste a half an hour of my life even watching these retards.
God, I know, and there's so many shows out there like that. I was over at a friend's house the other day, and they had that Big Brother thing on, and
Oh God!
I was like, I can't even believe that these are human freaking beings, man.
But here's
what the hell's going on here?
That show first started when the surveillance state was spinning up.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think that that's a mistake. Big Brother, listen to the name. What is it? You live in a house, and all these other people live with you, and you're under surveillance 24/7. And look at how cool it is, because we could broadcast it on TV.
Right.
And I'm a superstar now, because look at... And what it did was it normalized you being spied on.
Yes.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Because it's kind of cool now. Because you might become a movie star for 5 minutes of fame.
Jimmy said Jersey Shore.
Yeah, that was the name of the show.
Jimmy knew it.
Were you watching Snooki's boobs there, Jimmy?
Snooki's boobs. That's too funny.
All they did was go out and drink and give blowjobs, I think. I think that's all the show was about.
I remember passing that in Pennsylvania. It said Jersey Shore this way, and I'm like, screw that, I'm going straight. Jeez, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, man.
Said that. Too much breakfast going on.
Oh, he said just like the Truman Show. Yeah, it pretty much is.
The Truman Show too. That's what, and that was not Drew Carey. That was Mask. The Mask.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Thank you. Close. I was close.
Very close. But it's the same thing with this Celtic festival that I was at this weekend. Some dude had a drone there. And it's just like, I just wanted to go, and I didn't go up to him, and I should have went up to him, but I didn't.
What, like that video that I played?
Yes. It was just like that. I did, though. I sat there, and I swear to you, I was taking pictures of it with my cell phone.
Should have been taking pictures of him.
I should have.
All freaking nervous.
What I was doing is I was standing.
Like, what the fuck you doing?
I was standing in the middle of like all these people. In fact, I was like inches from a maypole. They were actually having to go around me because I was filming that thing, and I had my middle finger up there. And this guy that walked by me, I was filming my middle finger. And I was taking pictures of my middle finger in the drone because I thought it would be a cool shot. And so this guy made this comment, walked past me. He was like, you're holding up your middle finger in public. You know what I mean? I didn't say anything. I just walked away. And I should have said something to that drone operator because they're just doing that in a public spot is getting people acclimated to this whole freaking thing, just like the Big Brother, just like all of it, to accept the surveillance society, and that's what's going on here.
Well, who was he?
Just some dude. It was some guy that just had a drone. It's just some older fellow that was there, showing it to the kids, you know what I mean?
Well, I saw that there were, I think it was 2 guys arrested in New York City for buzzing a NYPD police helicopter with a drone.
Oh.
And I'm thinking to myself, not that that's a smart idea, but what's good for the goose, on one hand, you let that little punk ass let his drone up and start surveilling people at his whim. He could have been taking pictures of chicks in bikinis on the beach. Who knows? Who knows what the little scumbag was doing? Just because he says he wasn't doing it. But, and so you let him get away with that. That's fine. You actually they charged that girl with assault, I think we read in the article, that one in Connecticut. But, so it's all legal until what? Somebody buzzes your NYPD helicopter?
Right.
You said that drones are legal for anyone to fly them. So, hey, get over it.
That's right. Get over it.
You have no rules. So, whose rules are those?
But this is how they're doing it, though. You know what I mean? You can't take a picture of a piece of art on a tower. You won't be able to take a picture of the cops. And then now all of a sudden nobody can get drones except for law enforcement. And they're already starting to ban those little laser pointers for the same reason. Oh,
yeah, I saw that.
You know what I mean? So you
can do a lot. I mean, people were shining them at aircraft, I guess, is why they're all hyper about it, and it blinds the pilots.
Right.
But aren't most of those on autopilot anyway?
You think so?
I mean, they're all going to be unmanned at some point. They are already working on unmanned helicopters, and I know that they have, X-37B. X-37B, the spy plane, the little baby brother to the space shuttle, is unmanned.
Yeah.
That flies for months and months on end without anyone intervening.
See, they don't need astronauts anymore either.
And they won't need airline pilots.
Mm-mm. That's right. Get
They won't
ready.
need McDonald's workers.
Nope.
And they won't need street cleaners because they'll have the industrial Roomba.
Yeah. Soon they won't even need humans.
Well, I think that's the point.
Yes.
Because we are not easily controlled.
No. Yep, and there we go. The rocking starts.
Well, it's kind of late now, actually. We made it all the way through to 11:15
Yeah.
before the rocking started. Here, I just finally logged into my account where all my videos are that I had queued up yesterday. I'll have to leave this open for tomorrow, too. Desert brought up this in chat, and I don't know if it was actually this case, but there have been quite a few now over the last few days, I noticed. Someone actually posted one on the UCY page, and this one I got out of Pigmine videos yesterday. Hold on.
Anything she did at the fullest, and she lived life big.
Hallie Youth's big brother was surrounded by his parents and two sisters at their home in Spring Hill as the family remembered the 9-year-old known for her colorful, sparkling approach.
She loved everything. She loved basketball, water skiing, fishing. She especially loved playing with all her little friends, and especially boys.
Hallie had been active in the water in the 2 weeks before she died. She could have contracted the infection in any one of 4 Kansas water bodies. The amoeba that likely got up her nose and into her brain is called Naegleria fowleri. It is found in freshwater bodies across the United States, but hers is only the second infection in Kansas. And nationwide, the CDC has counted only 34 in the past 10 years, about 3 a year.
It's like a 1 in a billion. This girl is a 1 in a billion. There's a reason that God picked her. And I'm still trying to figure that out. But once I do, watch out. It's going to be great.
Tell me how crazy that is. I mean, these brain-eating amoebas, I know we talked last year about one that happened in Florida, and it had gotten into I thought it had gotten into a wound the guy had, but it had been in salt water.
Yeah, that's weird.
How could bacteria live in salt water? But I guess it does live in salt water. This one, now, one of the things about the brain-eating amoebas, and I've seen quite a few over the last few years, but typically they tend to be in the warmer climates down south.
Mm-hmm.
This one happened to be in Kansas.
Yeah.
And they said it's only the second case ever in Kansas. Kansas probably gets warm in the summertime, but I think they get a pretty cold winter just like we do.
Yes.
You know?
Especially this last winter.
Yeah, I mean, all of us did. Hold on, let me go to my other page. God, I'm just so... Nothing is set up here easily.
That's okay. This thing went straight up that little girl's nose.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I read it yesterday, but man, I'm glad you played the clip.
Well, there was one a couple years ago. Same exact thing happened, and it was at one of the water parks in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now that's scary. Those water parks.
Because I actually told my husband, no, we are never going to Disney. Then after I saw that, absolutely not. Wow. Oh, here, Drew posted this one. Ocean Springs man dies from flesh-eating bacteria.
Ew.
Ocean Springs man. Where's Ocean Springs?
Who knows?
Yeah. It's
There's one in California, Florida, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's like the one complaint I have about websites that people are still dumb. They'll tell you the name of the city, but they never tell you what state they're in.
Oh my god.
You know, guys, and it doesn't say.
Boy, it could be North Carolina. I mean, anywhere on the ocean. That's Texas, maybe. I mean, jeez.
Well, apparently he was swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. So it is somewhere there. Nick Duvray grew up in Ocean Springs. His family said he loved the water, and he was an avid diver, fisherman, and spearman. Last Sunday, he spent the day in the water with his family. Duvnay's sister, Sarah Duvnay Montgomery, said she never imagined the day on the water would lead to his death. We all got to spend the day together as a family. We had a blast doing what he loved. I'm reading like freaking 30 feet away, so this is kind of hard. He got to fish and spend time with my son, blah, blah, blah. The next day, on Monday, he began throwing up. Tuesday, he came down with a bad fever and was feeling dizzy. And by Wednesday, she said her brother began having chest pains and could not breathe. So his fiance rushed him to the hospital. At first, they said he had congestive heart failure because he had had a lot of fluid on his belly and on his legs. He had problems with high blood pressure, and he had left it untreated, which that could cause fluid retention, unfortunately. So I believe his organs were already in a weakened state. Doctors noticed that he was then going into kidney failure, and so they admitted him to ICU Wednesday night. Doctors drained some of the fluid from his stomach, but they had to stop because his blood pressure was dropping too low. Things continually got worse, and his legs kept swelling and actually started to burst open.
I've seen that. I haven't seen him burst open, but I have seen swelling like that, yes.
They realized they were dealing with something much scarier than they first thought. Montgomery said the doctors first told the family that his kidneys were shutting down and that he had an infection in his blood. By Thursday morning, Duvnay had surgery on his leg to try to remove the infection, but things continued to take a turn for the worst. We were told that the worst case is that he would pass, or maybe he might lose his leg. But even then, we weren't really thinking he was going to die from this. By 2 p.m. on Thursday, Montgomery said the doctors advised the family that if anyone wanted to see him, they'd better come now. He had then gone into liver failure. His respiratory system was shutting down, and he was on a ventilator. 8 hours later, the family's worst nightmare came true when he passed away. Still in shock, Montgomery wants to warn everyone who swims in the Gulf of Mexico, if you are going to go out there and be in the water, just make sure you don't have any cuts on you. See, this is last year. This is the same thing. The guy had gotten something through a cut.
Yes.
And it was in the Gulf. But he had been in Florida, I thought. You don't have any cuts on you, especially if you have a weaker immune system like Nick did. And I'm telling you, we all have weakened immune systems.
Yeah.
It's what they're doing. It's how they're making us sick all the time. It's how they make their money.
I wonder if any of that core exit had anything to do with it.
Well, I've wondered that, or whatever the core exit created.
Yes, that was my point. Absolutely.
If you get cut out there, go in immediately. Don't let this go and hope for the best, because within 4 days my brother was dead, she said. Montgomery said her brother was very close with her family, and he had plans to tie the knot with his fiancée of 5 years this fall. Then they were having a doctor later that night on the news talk about it. But that's pretty crazy.
Wow.
From a cut. Who doesn't have a cut or a mosquito bite on their leg, okay? Especially this time of year.
Sure.
I mean, I know I always have some itchy spot on my leg because some annoying little bug nailed me.
Yeah,
I'm itching my foot right now.
Quite a few years ago now, I kind of tripped and scraped my shin on a cement stair, and it blew up. It blew up into this great big gigantic sore, and it became the size of my hand, and it started out as just a cut and a scrape, but. You know, of course, they gave me antibiotics and all that crap, and it went away. But I've still got the scar from that sucker, and it just started as
there was some unknown bacteria that you contracted.
And I also worked at the hospital at that time, so I could have gone to work, you know, with the thing on my leg and got something there, perhaps. Who
Was
knows?
that on your end? Or was that
No,
here?
that was there, I think.
Oh, I don't know where that came from.
That's okay. But yeah, I mean, it was very possible that I had gotten that at the hospital after I, scraped it, and then it just got worse and worse. Because it just started out as a little tiny scrape.
Well, hospitals are some of the worst locations for getting infection. When I was in there for childbirth, which, mind you, was 9 days.
Oh.
Most people go in and out. One day they're in, and then they're out the next.
Yeah.
They don't like to keep you in there. Yeah, I was really sick. I was in there for 9 days, but they announced, after day 4, that the water system had legionnaires.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'd been, chewing on ice and drinking water in those rooms. The humidity in hospitals is kept really low intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got MRSA by the time I came home, and I had, there's some other bacterial infection.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't remember. All my stitches, because I had to get a C-section, all my stitches had filled up with fluid.
Oh, no.
And then I was puking. Oh, it was horrible. I was sick for about 3 months in bed after I got home.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
Yikes. That just sounds like a nightmare.
Not doing that again.
No.
My body went out of its way to reject. But, I was looking to see, there's some other, Chikungunya virus that's spreading through the French Antilles. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
It's a major epidemic, they said. Here. Martinique.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know, it just seems like a lot of things.
Justement aller se rassembler sur les côtés.
Mosquito borne. Oh, are they not going to translate this?
Je reçois en
Hold on, maybe they will.
moyenne 15 à 20 patients atteints du...
Over the past 2 months, I've received an average 15 to 20 patients suffering from chikungunya. It was quieter in December when it started, but it really increased to reach 20 patients per day.
Première phase clinique aiguë qui...
There is a first acute clinical phase that lasts almost 1 week when people feel really unwell. They have difficulty eating, they have skin rashes, and they scratch a lot. Once the first phase is over, they suffer from pain in their joints that can last a very long time. The clinical impression I have is that the older the people are, the more traumatisms they have, the longer the pain lasts.
Plus les douleurs durent longtemps.
It's a type of mosquito that is very discreet, that you don't notice easily, but it's very efficient at transmitting these diseases. It only takes for migrants carrying the chikungunya virus to arrive in the Antilles from French Guiana for it to develop in this urban area. If a mosquito picks up the virus from them, then there is a possibility that there will be a secondary cases and even maybe epidemics in the south of France.
Dans le sud de la France.
Oh, that's kind of bad. That's pretty nasty. So,
yeah.
And here's what I'm gaining from all this. So we have this willy-nilly CDC chain of command for all of these virulent things that could potentially get loose. We have Ebola. Oh, wait. Experts highlight Ebola problem in Sierra Leone. The one that apparently, it says worse. This again is French, aren't they?
Normally in Ebola, we try to be a step before the Ebola is coming to the villages, but we are completely too late. Last week we came to a village where we had around 40 patients from one village. It's unbelievable. I never have seen it before. We need more experts to come. We need epidemiologists. We need medical staff.
The time is going, and every time you have more people contaminated, and then one people can contaminate many. Then you could have a really increase in the numbers. If you take too long, you'll be more spread and more difficult to control.
To deal with this every day, to look people in the eye, you can see they are scared. to look over this fence right behind you now and look at the patients, and you know that their chances are very small. It's horrible.
So, I don't know. I'm going to tell you something. I think that they are ramping this up globally now. Look at all these epidemics. And I mean, I can keep scrolling. I've actually started, every time I see something that's sort of freaky, and they're like, well, this is the worst we've ever seen. This is, over and over and over again, we've been seeing the same drum beating. Tomorrow might be a really good day to talk about mRNA vaccines. Because I think that that's what this is all leading to.
Absolutely.
These things without a cure, these things that our immune systems can't keep up with. Oh my God. The world is now a global place, and look at how easily they can spread from here or there. They were saying that they could easily get it in France. So, I mean, they've been warning, watch out Europe. And I've actually seen a few unconfirmed cases of Ebola showing up in Europe. So,
there we go.
Yeah, I think so. Man, are you around tomorrow? Just out of curiosity.
Let's see. I can be.
Just because I am not at home.
Okay, I can host the call, sure.
Yeah, I do want to do mRNA stuff tomorrow, but it means I got to find time to read more today. All right, guys. Well, guess what? It is 57 minutes after the hour, so we are almost at the end, if you can believe it. No. I know Mr. Kevin Blanche is going to be rocking and rolling. I didn't see Dan here today. I don't know if they communicated or not, or if he's planning on hosting the calls for Kevin anymore.
Oh, so that's right.
Needs to let me know these things since I'm not psychic. So I'm going to guess that Kevin's going to be able to get on by himself. I hope so, since I don't have his phone number with me.
Oh.
I don't carry those around. Those are on index cards. Remember 1982?
That's right.
It's 1982 in my house. Which actually was a good year. 1982. So tonight is what? What is even the day? Tuesday.
Tuesday the 15th. Yeah. Tuesday, July 15th.
It's always a good night. We have the boys from New York City on later, and Primer Time Radio, and I also run a rebroad for the time being of Drew's show. After those guys, I think Prepper Chick has hooked us up with G. Michael Hoff. Nice. G. Michael Hoff is going to be doing a show with us, so I think I'm going to put him in that slot. And then we have the Primer Time, and then we have Prepper Chicks After Dark. So everybody make sure you stick around today. Mr. Kevin Blanche up next. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, lady people.
I'll be here in the morning then.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening today. Take care.
Bye.